right, so there seems to be 49 people in the chat.
Nice.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. As you can see here, this is Rogue Preparedness. What's your first name?
Morgan.
Morgan. Okay. Sorry. I'm like, yeah, I'm interviewing Rogue Preparedness and don't know your first name. So I apologize for that. All right. So let's get started. Oh, that jumped fast. So how do we start this off with you? Because I want to be a little different than the same bullshit, trying to grow a little bit. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm currently living on 40 acres in the desert with my husband and 2 kids and some chickens, and we're trying to just make it work. We've been here since about March or so, so it's a whole learning experience and everything. But that's me, and I've been prepping for over 10 years or so, and YouTube and all that. So yeah, it's pretty much me.
So how long have you been on YouTube?
It's for about 5 years.
Oh, very good. That is awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to do something a little different at the time. When I started, I did my 365 series, the
Right.
video a day, and it was apparently a really big hit. A lot of people liked it, and I loved doing it. And I did it uh, 1.5 more times after, and it was a lot of fun to do videos every day. But it's a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
You know what's funny? I think about other YouTubers who do it every day, and I'm like, for like example, Casey Neistat. The guy does it. Oh, he used to do it every day, and I'm like, how the hell is this guy, as busy as he is, do all he does and then still does videos each day? You know?
Yeah,
I mean, when I first started, I found one video like to be a pain in the ass. Like so.
yeah.
Um, but
Yeah, some days I have like a whole list of ideas and stuff that I'm constantly writing down ideas, and like every day. Sometimes there were days in which I just sit in front of that idea list and I'm like, what do I want to do today? Like, and sometimes it was kind of stressful, but I always found something, and my videos are never really like super popular or anything, but I feel like, it's my learning experience plus trying to help others as well, and so it's a whole mishmash of that. So yeah,
I
the
think
fun.
your videos are popular. I mean, you got a good following, so it's not like you're not small, and you're well known in this community. So it's not like it's not like I don't know, like someone smaller than you, if you will. I hate saying that way, but
Yeah, it's taken a while, but it's good. I love the community. I built a really really awesome community. So yeah, I love it. I love them.
very good. Listen, I enjoy this community too. I do enjoy. I hate to say it because I'm definitely going to jinx it right now, but I do enjoy the trolls. They're fun. They can be fun. Some of them can be obnoxious, and others can be fun, and then some of them can be. I wouldn't say mean because I think I could be meaner than them, and I usually win that battle. Usually, not all the time, but I do get a kick out of them. All right. So how
Yeah.
long? How long?
Okay.
That's what I want to ask you. How do
Yeah.
you handle trolls on your page?
I used to get really, really, really defensive. I probably still do. I have an attitude sometimes for sure.
Hmm.
And so when somebody's trolling me or being rude or something, I have to now really ask myself, is it worth it to even engage with this person, or should I just leave it alone? Should I leave the comment? Should I, get rid of the comment? Should I get rid of the person altogether? And usually now I kind of have like a not even like a 3 strike policy. It's really just like, how are you acting on my page in general? Like, sometimes I might just ignore the comment, whatever, they're just letting off steam, whatever. I don't care. But sometimes if they like directly attack me or my children or something, I won't stand for it at all. And I just don't have time to deal with that type of negativity. So I get rid of it. And it's like I equate it to being face to face with somebody. Like if you're talking crap to me, like to my face, I don't have to stand that. I can engage with you and argue with you until I blue in the face, or I can just walk away. And in the instance of the internet, that's how you're walking away. You're just disengaging with that person. And I can do it in person, and I can do it online. I don't have to engage with you or anybody. So,
Well,
yeah.
that's a good way of looking at it. Hidden Harvest, thank you for the donation, man. We appreciate it. Uh, Someone Slim Shady says you will be trolled. So
Yeah.
listen, like I said, I don't. I usually don't. I used to listen when trolls say shit. I say some shit to them that they're like, who in the fuck would ever say something like that? Usually it ends it right then and there. Live stream, my moderators handle it, so because I'm busy talking or whatever. But usually in the videos when they try to troll, it's usually pathetic too. It's like, I mean, listen, firemen, we live to break balls. That's like our thing, fighting fires, cooking, and breaking balls. Those are the three things we do. So usually when guys try to get into it with me, I'm like, you're gonna lose this one. But I, I'm still entertained by them and some of the shit they say. So, what inspired? How long have you been prepping? And what was the turning point for you in your life when you were like, holy shit, I got to prep?
It's been over 10 years now. And a little before that, though, I had just moved to Texas. And I tell this story all the time because I think it's funny. But every time the lights would go out, they kind of seemingly, the lights go out so often in Texas, people make a joke that it's like, oh, well, somebody breathed hard or something, and the lights went out. So the lights would just go out for like no reason. Sometimes it's just perfectly clear, and it's like, oh, all right. So, and one day it happened. It was my first lights out experience. It never happened before, and I just moved to Texas, way over 10 years ago. And this was before I met my husband and all that. I was living with a friend, and I had this little BlackBerry phone, and it was almost out of power. And I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to charge my phone when there's no electricity? Like, it sounds so, stupid. But, it's just one of those things that starts getting your mind working. Well, how will I charge my phone? How would I get electricity? How would I still cook? How would I still do these things? It's a whole spiral of things that happened after that. So then I went down the prepper rabbit hole from there. So.
I know, right? It's an endless hole, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You start
It's a
that
black
journey, you're like, holy shit.
yeah.
All right, so, well, that inspired you. You started YouTubing. You said 5 years ago you started YouTubing. So, I have to ask you, what kind of livestock do you have? I know you mentioned it earlier, but
Yeah. Right now we just have the chickens. I want goats, and I want like all the livestock, but right now we just have chickens, and they produce a lot of eggs, and I'm getting more chickens that are dual purpose chickens that I can use for meat or eggs here in the spring. So that'll be good. But right now it's just a lot of eggs. a lot of eggs.
do you think you'll get? I mean, I guess it's harder to get, but like cattle and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cattle around here. I can definitely get cattle, but I have to fence our property first, and it's expensive, and so I want to get that done first. But yeah, and eventually I do for sure.
Oh, okay. I got actually. Is your husband in on this, or are you like by yourself?
I'm a secret prepper from him. He doesn't know anything. No, I don't even know how that would be possible. I'm very obsessive about certain things, and so I'll come to him and I'll be like, I want a greenhouse, and I want it right now. And he's just like, whoa, hold on. And I do this about everything. I'm like, I want an upright freezer. I want chickens. I want all this stuff. And so, but no, he's very much into it. I'm definitely the prepper of the household, but he's very supportive and he loves all this stuff. And sometimes he gets a little annoyed with my craziness, my prepper craziness, but he's into it. He's good.
At least you have the room for it. I don't have the room for it, and I drive my wife crazy. So uh, I'm
I
always that's. I mean, it's not an uphill battle anymore, but it was up there. All right,
Yeah.
so let's get a little deeper into it. What is your prognosis, if you will, uh, of the election, and where do you think it's going from here?
Yeah. So I think that something weird has definitely happened. And I think that it's really weird that the media announced the winner and everybody's just accepting it. Like, it's very, very odd to me that everybody is just kind of okay with this, even though the media has never been the one to officially announce a winner. So it's really wild to me that it's just like, oh, Biden's the winner, he won, when nothing's been announced yet. So,
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you on that. I think I think that the what was it, the AP News when they announced it. I'm like, and I tell people, I'm like, I wasn't really surprised, and I was like, look who runs, who backs AP News, and then
yeah,
you'll see from there.
yeah.
Um, okay, that's a good question. I'm gonna ask it now. I usually ask questions, later, but first of all, Carmen, thank you for the super chat. Secondly, where do you get your water from?
We haul it from a nearby well. Right now, we don't have a well. That's also kind of expensive where we are. It just kind of varies where you are about how the depth and everything. But in our particular area, we have a lot of rock and we have to go pretty deep. And so we can't do it ourselves. And so we have to hire someone and it's a little expensive. But right now we're hauling it in. But we have a 2,500-gallon storage tank that we store the water in when we haul it. So we're really good on water. We haul maybe once a week and we're good.
How long does that last you?
Oh, I mean, we really conserve water. We barely use any water. And so, I mean, if we really, 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 really tried, we could use, maybe 200 in a week. But I mean, that's really trying. And so we usually haul 275 gallons a week. So, yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. I mean, wow. I mean, and it's funny. That's, I guess, the difference between city prepper and a rural prepper is that we take shit like that for granted. Water, gas, heat,
Yeah.
electric, and you guys, you have to measure it out,
Yeah.
right?
That's 100% it. We have to really conserve everything. Lights are all. I was always kind of like I always turn the lights off. I used to live in the city, suburbs and all that, and in the city, and I just like I took advantage of all the lights and the water, and I thought about it, but I didn't really care
Right.
that much. I mean, I care, but not that much. I still prepped, with the water and lights out and all that, but it's uh, you know even being off grid, you still have to measure everything. And like you were saying, with the lights, we're completely on solar. And just today, like it's been pretty cloudy, and we got up to 93% charged on our batteries, which is great. But we're just like, we want it to be 100, and so like we won't have any lights on, and like we'll just conserve. Like lights take no energy, but like we just try to conserve like as much as possible, just so we can have as much energy as possible for whatever we want without having to use a generator or whatever. So yeah, it's always it's
Right.
interesting.
I always wanted like a solar generator, like something small, like for the apartment.
Yeah,
Obviously gas is out because apartment, but
yeah.
some people say you could put it on your fire escape, but that makes too much noise and it's illegal.
Hmm.
But you guys are like in the ideal situation, that I would like to be in rather. But listen, I mean that's a good thing for you guys to be out there and away from the shit that's going on in the cities. So,
Yeah.
what are or were you preparing for? What was your like everyone has a glitch. Mine was an EMP. you know, and what would yours be? Yours be?
Ours in the beginning was pretty much primarily lights out and just having no utilities. I just heard so much, like, even it happened just in nearby cities where there were boil mandates, or whatever they're called, uh, boil alerts, where they tell you to boil water because some contaminants were in the water. Yeah, so I always prep for that kind of stuff, the lights out and basically not having access to any type of utilities kind of stuff. But you know, whatever caused it. But I pretty much try to prep for almost anything, you know, the civil unrest, or you know, natural disasters. We actually have severe flooding around here. It's weird talking about that in the desert, but we do. We have severe flooding around here.
Sure.
And bad lightning storms sometimes. And so, you know, we have to be, you know, we had a fire on the side of our mountain. We're right near some mountains. We had a fire the other day.
No shit.
And we were like watching that like a hawk. We're like, we may have to leave. Like, it was really, you know, serious. There's wildfires here. Yeah, there's all sorts of things. So we prep for a lot of stuff.
And see, that's an interesting trade-off, right? I mean, you move out, you get out of the city, away from the bullshit, but then you go out to the, you know, wilderness or a rural area, and you have to deal with different bullshit. You know, you said bad lightning storms, fire on the side of a mountain, right? Forest fires. Do you guys get tornadoes in your area?
We do sometimes. Just kind of depends on where, but yeah, I've heard of them for sure.
You haven't seen one yet, though.
No.
Yeah, you don't want to, right?
No.
That's a nightmare in the making. So, what inspired you to go on to YouTube and start making videos?
I think I wanted an outlet. I wanted somewhere that I could share my prepping experiences as well as get feedback. I had been watching. I've generally been on YouTube since almost its inception, and I always loved it. It was, you know, I've always been part of, you know, somebody's community on there, and so you know, I just wanted to just kind of share that outlet, you know, and just
very good.
I felt like it was the best way to improve and to share knowledge. And so.
Well, I mean, listen,
YouTube's a lot different these days, but yeah.
It is. And it's funny that you said about sharing knowledge, because again, like, I've been following you for a couple of years, and you know, a lot of, if not all your videos are spot on. And it's just interesting that I'm always interested in, when it comes to certain subjects, if you will, I'm always interested in a woman's perspective on these things, you know. So you know, again, I think you were the first. Yeah, I think you were the first female that I recognized, you know, and then everyone else started coming into play. You know, it was like, oh, okay, so if you like road preparedness, you like, what's the name? Patriot Nurse, for example, you know. Even though I'm not sure if she's a prepper, or maybe she is, but whatever. I was following her for a while as well too. But then you just start seeing different perspectives, and it's interesting. You know, men in rural areas have a different perspective than women in a rural area, but a woman in the city has a different perspective than the both of them, and then a guy in the city has a different perspective than all three of them. So it's just, and it's interesting to watch everyone's perspective and learn something from that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, just everybody, you and I, just, you know, we'll have different perspectives on, you know, variety of things. So yeah, just every single person brings something different to the table, which is great.
Which is good, unless they're like, which I've seen before. You've seen them, you know, some of the crackpots out there. You're like, get the fuck off of YouTube with that shit. You know, you're making the rest of us look nuts.
Yeah. Well, won't name names, but yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We definitely seen them. So, what do you? I mean, you're in a rural area. How close are you to the nearest city or town?
Well, I'm about 20 minutes from a little tiny, just our little local town, tiny town. And the nearest big town is 50 miles away.
Wow. That's an hour trip. Oh, yeah. Good. All right. And I guess that the town you're in, the small town that you're near. Sorry, is it one of those towns like I always see in movies? Is that a town where like everyone knows everyone?
Pretty much.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. We always go into town and see the same type of people. Yeah,
No shit.
and
Okay.
they know us, and yeah, it's a
Is it a
pretty
train?
tight.
Is it a transient town? Like a lot of people come like pass through, or not really?
No,
No.
nope.
No shit. Okay, that's interesting. So, what do you think will come from this COVID wave, second wave, however the hell you look at it? What do you think is going to come from it?
uh, so I have a lot of thoughts on this, but basically, I don't think that. I think the way that I see it is, even with a vaccine, which no matter how flawed or perfect it is, I think that they've even come out right out and said that there's still going to be restrictions. People are still going to be forced to wear masks. People are still going to be forced to do these things. Businesses closing and opening. And also, this is kind of setting a precedent for future, viruses and things like what's next. I mean, COVID wasn't even as COVID is serious for many people, but it could be a lot worse. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with the new thing. What are they going to do then? They've
Right.
said the precedents, and so I'm not I'm not convinced it's going to be ever back to normal, whatever normal was.
Well, listen, you live. For those of you guys that live out in the urban areas, sorry, rural areas or suburban areas, you guys have more leeway with your restrictions, if you will.
Mhm.
Whereas here, I'm walking down the street with no mask on, and people are looking at me. They'll walk across the street. They're coming down up the block, and I'm looking, and I swear to you, it might be like a half a block or so, and they look up the block, and they're like, when we put the mask on, I'm like, holy shit! Just walk around me or cross the street, you coward. But it's pretty insane here in the city, and you walk downtown, forget it. Everyone looks at you, like you Medusa or some shit. They're like, oh my god, and they like you. We're outside. Like I get it in the store.
Yeah.
I sort of get that in the store, but not out in the world. Um,
Mm-mm.
but
I'm with-
again, it's the bullshit, right?
They want you to wear a mask inside your own house, so
They're getting there. Yeah, they're getting there. Biden's speech, right? 100 days of wearing a mask.
because that's we've already been wearing masks for 100
I
days.
know. I mean, the guy can seriously go, fuck himself with that one. I couldn't. I've never heard anything like it before. But
Oh,
so what do you? How do you think next year is going to play out?
Ooh, uh, my crystal ball out here. No, I really. This is one of those times. I really have no idea. If Biden is sworn in, he will definitely do everything in his power to do more lockdowns, more stricter restrictions. I absolutely 100% believe that, and I don't believe it's just going to be 100 days. But I don't know if there's going to be any stronger civil unrest. It's actually been a little quiet, quite frankly, a little too quiet. And there has been some displays of demonstrations and things, but not what they were threatening to be. And so I think we're all still a little on the edge waiting for that. But if Biden wins, I'm not really. I don't know. It's
Well, listen. Once they announce Biden winning, unless those other two Supreme Court cases do something weird, um, if that happens, the shit is on. But for a peace of mind, I guess, or for the liberals' peace of mind, if Biden wins and he's announced and he's cleared as the winner, nothing's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see any riots, but we're definitely, like you said, we're definitely going to see more lockdowns. That's for sure.
mhm.
I think that's the only problem. Now, did you get to see um, Songbird.
I haven't seen it yet, but I saw that you did a review of it. I haven't watched it yet, but how
Okay.
was it?
Uh, um. So someone made a good point in the comment section of the video. They were like the way the movie ended was like they were happy being slaves to the bullshit. Okay, so instead of like them saying fight the, like every movie up until this rioting shit, movies like that
Nope.
like fight the system, take the government down, yeah, fuck the man, and this one was sort of like I got the love of my life. I'm happy with being a slave, and I was like, when he brought that up, I was like, I thought about the movie again. I was like, he's fucking right. The movie's like trying to control you and saying this is going to be fine, being being a drone to society. I was just
What I find most interesting about that movie is it was scripted, greenlit, cast, shot, edited, and everything during a pandemic in which the rest of Hollywood was supposed to be shut down and everything. And so I find this quite interesting that this is one of those movies that got through. How is this even possible? Like, I thought
well,
everything was supposed to be closed down. And
well. First of all, when you're rich like Michael Bay and you got money, you can pay people off. The other thing is a lot of the shots. When you look at the movie again, you start recognizing, all right, that's a close shot. That means they're like on a little street corner, and they're trying to make it look big, but they really can't. There was like one or two scenes where they opened it up a little bit, but a lot of it was done indoors anyway, and it was
yeah,
done with the smallest crew known to movie history. You know, so I mean, even Blair Witch Project, which was a run of the mill, what was a $10,000 movie, had a bigger crew than this. So they were doing everything they could, but you're right. The movie was done. It went into production July 8th, and it was done by August 4th. So less than a month. It was all squared away. But when you watch the movie, you will see the how it was rushed through. You will see the lack of explaining for certain things. Shit happens. You're like, how the hell did that happen? They don't explain it because they were rushing through the movie.
well, that's a good propaganda movie. Sounds
Uh
like.
Definitely, because at the end they don't. Again, they don't question. But what they do, there is a scene where you see "Let us out" while we still on lockdown, but that's it. You don't see them fighting it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, you'll see.
Yeah.
Whatever. Greenland. Hopefully, it'll be a better movie. So,
Greenlit?
huh?
What was it?
Greenland.
I haven't heard that.
Okay,
That was
so when we're done with here, watch the trailer. You'll definitely get a kick out of that.
okay.
Um, and also don't go anywhere after we cut out
Okay.
off of this.
All
All
right.
right. So, with everything going on? What is your biggest fear?
Um. Honestly, I just I'm really kind of disappointed with where I see how easy people can be oppressed. How easy it is for um an entity to say, I think this is right, and so you must do it. And people have been kind of blindly obeying. And I think that's probably my greatest fear because it's a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people that are resisting and that kind of thing. Who are actually looking at this and being like, that doesn't seem right. But there's also a lot of people that are just kind of going along with it, not asking questions. They don't care. It's just kind of like la 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 la, everything's fine. And I think one of the biggest problems I'm seeing is people just want to return back to normal. They're just like, I just want to get back to normal. I just want to get back to normal. So just wear the mask. Just do this. Just do what they're saying. And then we can get back to normal. Look, we're never getting back to that. So
Yeah, I hear you. So my light just quit on me, but you guys can
that.
still see me, so it's fine. Um, yeah, it's amazing. It's like one thing or the other with this tech. No, you know what? You're right. You're right about the um people crying early this year about oppression, and and you know where I'm going with this. BLM and everybody else was like, you know, BLM and everybody's like, oh, we're being oppressed, we're being oppressed. I'm like, really, motherfucker? You haven't seen what oppression looks like yet. I said,
Yep.
what's coming down the pipe, and not for nothing, forget what's coming down the pipe. Other people are oppressed, and the oppression here is whatever. It's bullshit. Thank you, Kevin Grip, for the donation. And you're right. Kevin Grip goes? How did we end up with so many sheeple? Right? How many people are good with this shit? They rolled over and said, "Fuck it." I'll put the mask on. I'll get the vaccine. Okay, I'll stay home too. Because you said so, sir. You know. And then there are people who are going the other opposite and becoming I guess too extreme with the not staying home and protesting and fighting the system, and it's getting bad.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know. I think that it's the sheeple thing, and then you got the opposite, but there's not many of the opposite, the opposition, if you will, right? You got
Yeah.
people who are like, you know what, fuck, I'm not wearing a mask, and I'm going partying. I said, all right, and then you got people who are like, well, the government told us that we can't have people over for the holidays, so well, maybe you shouldn't come over this year, dear. They're talking to their kid in college.
Yeah, right.
It's insane.
It's a lot of division right now. Very divided.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll pretty sure I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask anyway. What is your not? Do you own firearms, and what is your favorite?
Yes. And um I really like my AR-15.
Okay.
I love it because I built it myself and I found all the parts for it, and I love it. I think the platform is just perfect, and I love lots of guns. I don't discriminate, but I just love it. So
Very good. Nice. Do you own? I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one too, but do you own bug out bags?
yes, yeah, we absolutely still have bug out bags, even though we are in a rural area. And a lot of people, there's been a real anti bug out bag movement this year. I don't know
I
if
know,
you've
right?
noticed it.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know what's going on, but I think everyone should have a bug out bag no matter where you are, because I mean it's a bag that you take in case something goes bad. And like I was saying, with that wildfire on that side of the hill, we could just grab our bags and go. I mean, we have reasons to bug out too. I mean, they may be fewer than if you were in a city, but there's still reasons. We probably will just use it primarily for camping and training and stuff like that. But still, it's, I
Yeah.
think everyone should have one.
Yeah, the anti bug out bag movement. I'm like, that's fucking strange, man. I'm like, guys are like, you're not supposed to bug out. I'm like, yeah, you're not supposed to, but even in your perfect little castle, some shit can go down and you need to bounce. Like
Yeah.
you can lose your house to a fire. Forget about being attacked, right? A
Right.
fire, what you call it, wildland fires comes by. I mean, like so many different things, and people are like, well, I don't need one because I'm standing my ground. It's not about standing your ground. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the other shit. I'm 1,000% sure no one's breaking into this apartment. But the bug out bags, if there's a fire, we grab our shit and we go. Because the
Yes.
likeliness of a fire in buildings like this are way higher than me having to actually bug out. And this is what we prepare for. We try to get all the angles, and the anti bug out bag movement is strange. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen in the prepper community.
Very good. Very good.
Now, uh, do you have an EDC kit?
Yes, I have. I used to carry a purse, and then I'm trying to kind of explain this. I used to carry a purse, but then I had kids, and the purse and kids, I had to carry the kids and the purse, and everything got really jumbled and too much for me. So I got rid of the purse, and now I just have everything literally in my pockets, and I do have a like an EDC get home bag in the vehicle. Sometimes I'll take it with me, like if we're gonna go on an adventure or something. We're gonna go do something. We're gonna be away from the Jeep for a minute. Then I'll take it with me. But otherwise, I have most of the most important things on my person at all times. So yeah.
Very good. So, I'm definitely asking this question now. At what point do you? At what point would you bug out?
I mean, like I said, we're in a rural area, so I mean, it would have to be a pretty extreme situation, like that wildfire, or even at like our house. But even then, we may not bug out too far. It just kind of really depends on the circumstances, but it would, like I said, it would have to be a really extreme situation, and we wouldn't be going too far. So.
All right, very good. Now, do you? I mean, I guess you have a backup plan, right? So in case, again, a wilderness fire takes outside a mountain, or you get overrun by marauders, you have a backup plan to like go somewhere else, or?
Yes, yeah, we have our disaster plan that we've written out, and we have alternative places to go and things like that. So, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, very good. Now, oh, I asked everyone this question. I'm like, I'm always curious as to who's going to answer. There's no wrong answer to this question, and I'm 1,000% sure you haven't heard this one. But you guys are bugging out, right? The wilderness fire, whatever, took out your home. You guys, your vehicle doesn't run because it's fucking clogged with debris and shit. You guys are on foot. You're walking to your next location, and you come across a a bug out bag, a bug out stash, or cache, if you will, a cache. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
do you take it or do you leave it?
Boy, that's a tough question. I suppose I would, if we were just bugging out, like, I mean, like we've barely been on foot for a minute, I'd probably leave it because we probably have enough supplies for a minute, but I would mark it. Either I would mark it where it is, or I would attempt to, yeah, I mean, really, I'm not really in the business of taking other people's stuff until I'm real desperate and needy. But this was somebody's cash that I somehow stumbled on it really easy, so maybe I should take it.
Nice. It's funny. Someone said the same. They said, "Well, if I found it that easy," they said the same thing. Maybe I should take it. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't take it, but I would definitely hide it better for them. But then, if you hide it too good, you might fuck them out of their stuff. Like then they come in like, where the hell is it? So I guess you just leave it alone.
But,
I would leave it alone unless I absolutely needed something from it.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned this earlier, so I gotta ask this question. What mistakes have you made, and how did you learn from them? Being out where you are now.
Oh my gosh. We've made every mistake in the book, really. We have experienced this kind of type of climate, but not to this extreme. And so we've made all the mistakes. And basically, I came into this climate and this situation with a mindset of how I used to do things, where I used to live, which is not like here at all. There's more extreme winds. There's more flooding, especially during monsoon season. Gardening is way different. You have to water the plants way more. It's dry here, so the water evaporates. There's since we're in a more rural area, there's way more predators for my garden, as well as predators for my chickens and things, and there's all sorts of different kinds of things, and so I'm constantly learning, and I'm going overboard this next year with everything. I'm
Oh,
securing the garden really good away from predators, and I have learned this area a lot more, and so yeah, it's
So what's the worst predator out there?
um for my
The chickens.
livestock, yeah, for the livestock it'd be coyotes and bobcats actually. Um and then we have a lot of rats, which are my personal predator for the garden because they just attack it. But
No shit.
yeah, yeah.
So I mean, how do you do they do the bigger ones? Do the coyotes and the what mountain lions you said?
Yeah,
What?
we have to think.
Yeah, do
Mhm.
they come for the chicken often, or you guys have them like guarded?
No, no, yeah, we have them. We can't let our chickens free range, unfortunately. We'd love to, but we decided that we would rather keep our chickens around, and so we secured them in a in a really big run for them, and they're in heaven. It's a mansion for these chickens, and so yeah, no, we lock them up every night, and just so if something happens to get through the run, they won't get through the coop, which they're locked up in the coop. So
Okay. And even if they did, would the animal make enough noise that you guys would be like, oh shit, they're trying to get in there, and you guys would come outside and handle it, or
unfortunately, probably not. The chickens are a little bit far from the house,
oh,
but I've been thinking about getting a game camera out there, but even that wouldn't notify me. So I'd have to get a camera out there, but I don't know if our Wi-Fi reaches that would notify us like that. So we just make sure to lock them up, and then there's no way. I'm telling you, there's no way these coyotes or anything will get into that coop. They just won't.
all right, very good. So let's see. In a couple minutes, actually, real quick, I like to do this during the middle, but we're going to open it up to questions in a few minutes. Now, I have this list that I like to ramble off. Obviously, okay. So, for those of you that are still watching, and thank you for still watching. Again, thank you for the donations. I like to do this thing where I ramble off the different channels that are out there, especially a lot of the smaller ones, which are good. Now, last night, Prepper Tribe and Andrew, or Prepping for Life, they were doing a late live stream, which was funny as hell, by the way, especially when Prepper Tribe gets kicked off the air, but he freezes, and then uh, Andrew's sitting there going, "Oh shit, he's frozen," and then he disappears. He goes, "All right, I guess I'm on here by myself." He goes, "All right, guys, we're gonna be doing this again Friday," and then turns it off like he didn't know what to do. I thought that was pretty cool. They looked and they were having fun. It was a good time. So Prepping Tribe and Prepping for Life, you guys have to head over to their channel. Those guys are funny. Then you have Prepping 101, Prepper Now, NY Prepper, Prepper 21, SC Prepper, who just hit 1,000, Prepping Outside the Box. Guys, these channels that I mentioned, we want them to get to above 1,000 so that they can start live streaming and shit like that. Live streaming helps their channel out a lot. Be Ready Today, Financial Prepper, Me Being Cheap. No, 1,000, sorry, 1,000 gives them something else. I forgot what it was. But
I think
1,000
it's monetization.
monetizing, thank you. 1,000 gets them monetized, right? And it also allows them to get super chats as well, which is pretty good. Prepper Nation, TJ Preps again, who just hit 10,000. She's probably at 11,000 now, and she's in here. Uh, Pinball Preparedness, Magic Prepper, North Shore Preparedness, Grim Survival, Southern Boy Prepper, and a new guy that I saw today, whose channel is the guy's level headed. He's old. He's actually older than Pinball Preparedness, but he is good. It's Southern Safety, right? So he didn't use anything prepperish. His videos are good. I looked at two of them today, and I was like, wow, this guy's on a level, and he has a very good one on COVID. So please head over to Southern Safety's channel and like and subscribe to that. Also, we have Alaska Prepper. Those you guys know who he is. Again, Prepping for Life, who's formerly known as Andrew Julian Prepping for Life. Prepper Nurse One, Alaskan Ballistics, Hutch Homestead, who I have to take him up on his challenge. Prepper Princess, Prepper Tribe, Faithful Prepper, Autumn Backyard Garden, Southern Prepping Perspective, and Road Preparedness. All of these channels, guys, you take a look at them. I can guarantee you're gonna like them. These guys are not bad at all, and again, they're really good. They're I would say new age or new wave of preppers. All right, or survivalists.
Other links?
Huh? I don't have any links. I just read them off. Asymmetrical preparedness. That's another channel. Thank you for that one. I got to put that in here. But the list is going to get longer at some point. I'm just going to have the things scroll by the screen. But as of right now, I'm reading them off. All right. So let's get back into the questions. So I have to, like I said earlier, I'm going to ask you a couple of, I guess, female-related questions because I missed it with my other guest. So I do want to ask you this: would you have any advice for female preppers or survivalists or homesteaders?
Just like general advice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say just do it. Like, I think so many female preppers come up to me and they're always kind of a little hesitant to do this or do that or do something. And, especially like if they're single or if their husband doesn't want to do it or something. And I think that you just need to have a real talk with whoever you're in a household with. And in fact, this one woman came up to me recently, and her husband is deployed somewhere, and she just got into prepping like 1 or 2 months ago, and she's kicking herself because she didn't do it before, but she was spending a lot of money, and her husband was getting a little frustrated with how much money she was spending on this stuff because he didn't see that it was very important. And I told her, I said, well, you really need to have a very serious discussion, and you guys have to be on the same page. Like, it's not just like, and the same page as far as like especially money goes. He doesn't have to fully support what you're like. What I mean by fully support is, he doesn't have to like be a prepper or something,
right,
but he has to support you to this point of, I'm going to spend money on this stuff. This is important to me. How much money can we spend? How much time can I spend on this? Let's work it out, like have actual discussions instead of just kind of, I say just do it, but do it respectfully of everyone around you, but also don't be hesitant to do this stuff, start a bug out bag and go canning, do dehydrating, do any of these things. And if you fail the first time, fantastic, great, try again, learn from it. It's not that big a deal. That's, it's not life or death right now. It's fine.
Well, very good. And then here's my other question. Again, as a woman, what would you tell other women to pack in their bug out bags? Or advise, not tell.
Yeah. My advice would be pack whatever you want. Like I hear a lot of husbands that are trying to discourage their wives from taking like makeup or like specific hygiene items and things like that. And I get it. Like, even me, I don't pack makeup. I don't even like wear makeup. I don't pack that stuff because I don't see that it's necessary. But she does. She finds that nail clipper necessary. She finds a little bit of makeup necessary. And this is her bag, and she should feel comfortable, using it. So as a woman, you should feel comfortable using everything in your bag. If your husband or significant other or somebody else is telling you, well, you should put this in your bag, well, really ask yourself, how is this going to benefit me? And, but do seriously ask yourself as well, where am I going that I still, want this stuff or, that kind of thing. But I don't really think it's that big of a deal to have a little makeup bag or like, your extra hygiene bag or anything like that. This is your bug out bag, and just make it the way you want.
Very good. Well, thank you for that. Because I always seem to, those questions actually came from my wife. But she was like, well, how about you ask, this? And I'm like, you know what? She's right because she's a woman. I'm thinking, just strictly men questions. And then one of the questions that I used to ask, I mean, now being a female, is there any disadvantages for you? Let's say being on YouTube, or you know, I would say I would start with being on YouTube.
Um, Disadvantages, I don't know, but I think that I do still, I very strongly believe that women get spoken to differently. I don't know how to nicely put this, but people will come onto my channel and say things that they would never in a million years, like say to you or something, like they'll call me names, and they'll say bad things about my children, and they'll do all these things. And so I don't, I think that there are still a lot of sexism, especially, it may not even come from directly from the prepper community or whatever, it's just whoever's watching the video and they're just, trying to be a troll or whatever. But
Right.
I get it a lot. And so
Really?
I know that like Prepper Princess, she has complained about that as well. I think I heard that she was even stalked at one point. And yeah, so I think being a female on YouTube is has its drawbacks a little bit, but you just have to ignore it.
Well, no, that's good. And it's just I always find it interesting when I mean I found it interesting that you said they I guess they bring your kids into it, which is like it's always a shit move.
Yeah.
But when I started doing this, I knew that was on the table. Whenever you do YouTube, everything's on the table.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, fuck it. What saying shit means nothing to me. You show
Yeah.
up on my doorstep, that's a different ballgame.
Right.
Like again, like a couple people did to Prepper Princess, right? Showed up on the doorstep. But and again, if she was a dude, they wouldn't have done that, right?
Right.
So obviously, and that's why I asked the question, because I'm always interested in the other side that we might not be hearing. You know, um, so like, again, it sucks that you guys go through that shit. All right.
Yeah.
So, guys, the questions for today are for uh, road preparedness, or Morgan, if you will. All right. So, no questions for me, just for her, in all caps, so that I can actually read it with my old man eyes. Okay. So, prepping outside the box asks, sorry, what do you consider your most valuable skill?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I think my most valuable skill is just I don't know if this is a skill, but just constantly always wanting to learn. Like I'm very obsessive about just always wanting to learn something new, and it could be a detriment because I could forget to practice other stuff. But yeah, always. I don't know if that's a skill. I don't know if a lot of people want to continually learn forever in their life, but I do. I want all the knowledge. And so yeah, I think all skills are pretty valuable.
No, they are, and that is a not so much a skill as it is an attitude, a drive,
Yeah.
right? It's a good drive and a good attitude to have. I mean, in the
Yeah.
prepping community, you should always be learning something new. So,
Mhm.
you know, that's uh, that's a good one to have. That's a good attitude to have. All right,
Yeah.
guys, forgive me because a lot of the questions are flying by, but let's take CJ 1975. What kind of alternative meds to prep for us women folk? Okay, that's a different way of putting it.
Yeah. um so I think that everyone should have like their own little medicinal garden, but not just have the garden, but actually know what these things can do. In fact, just recently, I created a tea concoction. It's like it's lemon and on a blank now, oregano, mint, honey, and I think that's it. And then, so it's this little tea concoction, and every time I'm not really feeling very well, I drink that. I tell you what, it's a miracle. I mean, a lot of the foods that we eat can actually have, those antibacterial properties and those antivirus properties and things like that. And but get the knowledge first, absolutely. Read books and talk to experts about this stuff before you consume or dive into this stuff. But I've been learning this stuff for years and years now, and there's all sorts of medicinal plants for like cramping and things like that, and that helps with that stuff. So, um, get some books and learn from those experts. It's good stuff.
Well, now that you said that, here's the next question by Vikhar. Uh, what prepper books do you recommend?
Oh man,
Man.
we're on the spot. I have a whole library, and I wish I knew this is coming. There's I'm gonna have to. I have a blog post about some of the books that I really enjoy. A lot of the books in general are those medicinal herbs, first aid, anything having to do on those types of subjects, anything having to do on like primitive skills, things like that. I'll have to get actual specific titles. I have so many that I work through. So I'll have to get those specific titles and do a video or something on that.
Well, it's funny because as soon as I asked you that, I was like, shit. Because when they ask me that, it's the same thing. I'm like, fuck, what? And you know them, but you're cycling through them too fast in your head to pick one.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so this question is from Mountain Scout Survival School, or I know him as Shane. He goes, "What skills have you always wanted to know or learn?"
Really, I want to learn the most primitive skills, and that's what I'm working on right now, like how to make my own tools, like how to actually make a bow out in the wild, like how to smoke my meat over a fire, how to do these really, really primitive things, because that's kind of our lifestyle anyway. And so to be able to smoke meat over a fire without needing an actual smoker, that's a huge advantage to us. Like I'm staring at this solar dehydrator that we just built so that I can dehydrate. We didn't just build it, but I had to fix it. Anyway, primitive stuff like that where I don't need a dehydrator. I can just dehydrate with the sun, which they used to do. And and so, yeah, just trying to get away from a lot of that modern stuff. I still use a bunch of modern stuff. I have a big old freezer and all this stuff, but I want to know how to do all that primitive stuff. So that's what I'm learning right
now. Very good. So Old Mutt, I know him as Alan. You have any hand-to-hand combat training?
I do have a little bit. I was doing Krav Maga for a little bit. I love Krav Maga. Unfortunately, I don't live near anywhere that has classes, so I have to get like a DVD or something to continue that training, which isn't great, but it's something. I have some karate background. I have I was taking some classes from this Tactical Fitness Austin, and he did Krav Maga and like firearm training together, which was really cool. But yeah, I do some boxing as well. I'm trying to get back into that. Yeah, just a little bit. Trying to get back into all that stuff.
Very good. All right, so this is from Psychic Dreams. As a single female, unarmed, how can I protect my property?
Well, first of all, I have to ask why you're unarmed.
Very good.
There's a lot of ways to arm yourself that are not a firearm, but I do highly encourage a firearm if you're able to and willing to get the training and everything. No matter where you live, I really encourage training, no matter what. It's especially with a firearm, it's not a toy. It's a tool that if used incorrectly can be very dangerous. And so, but in saying that, there are other things that you can carry or use. A lot of them are very close combat, so you have to be very aware of that. Like if you're ever using like the like those keychain ones,
Right.
um, or like pepper spray or anything, you have to be very aware. These are all very close combat stuff, so you have to have a plan of, first of all, never even being in that situation to begin with, and having really heightened situational awareness. Situational awareness is probably going to be your biggest asset to avoid bad situations, to not open the door for anybody, that you don't know, to just be very heightened, and to avoid, and then know how to escape instead of having to combat. You want to avoid that as much as possible, but you can be armed. There's lots of different ways. Just look into your local state laws and things for sure. But
Very good. That was a good answer, because I would have been like, just get a fucking gun or a dog and then you're fucking straight. That would have been my answer. But again, that's that's
yeah, no, I agree. The dog is a good one. The dogs are great.
yeah, especially, I mean, this one we have, if I got attacked today, I'm on my own. He'll bark like you wouldn't believe, but as far as protection goes, who knows, man? I don't think he would. I think I'm on my own. So Bushcraft Family, he had asked this question because I saw that you had. Did everyone claim their prizes on your giveaways or giveaway?
Oh, no, one person did not, but I'm giving him a little bit of extra time, and if he does not claim it, I'll redraw.
Okay, very good. And what did the giveaway consist of?
There were 7 giveaways from different companies. There was one from like Nutrient Survival. Angryprepper did his Altoids kit. Canadian Prepper even donated a Bugout roll, and there was some fire starters, a book and T-shirts, variety of things. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Those Bugout rolls are awesome. I have to do an actual how you say Bugout weekend with one of those, just to put it to work. But I'm pretty sure it'll pull through. All right, so this question's from David. What is your suggested prepping firearm caliber?
Oh man, that's that's so personal. But I think that I used to carry a 380, and so and I thought that was all right because I wanted to carry a very small firearm because I'm a small female and I wanted to conceal easy.
Right.
But I wouldn't look at any calibers to just because you want to conceal easily. It's amazing the small calibers these days, or the small firearms these days that have like a 9 or a 45, and they're like these small guns, really concealable. And so you can get a 9 or a 45. I think their biggest concern here is going to be hollow points. You really want those hollow points. They're pretty important for defensive reasons.
Right.
And then change the ammo out frequently. But I would start with 9. 380 is fine. 22 maybe as like a backup. But whatever you're doing, hollow points are going to be important.
Funny you mentioned 22. I had a buddy. I mean, what wasn't really a buddy, but the guy I grew up with. He had got shot in his head 6 times by a 22.
Oof.
And survived.
Ooh.
But he wasn't. Obviously, he wasn't the same after that. He was off his rockers after that. But you saw the holes in his head, because he always kept his head close shaved. I remember them telling the story, and every time they told the story, I'm like, how the hell was that? He just got lucky. He was one of those guys, man.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I've heard very similar stories to that where, it's a whole bunch of things though. You could be shot with a 9 or a 45, and if that adrenaline is pumping, or they're on, a high dose of drugs or whatever it is, they're going to keep coming. So, it's sometimes more about the amount than, the caliber, but, combined, it helps too. The
Right.
higher caliber with the higher capacity magazine. So
That is true. So, Irish Rebel, thank you for the donation. We appreciate that. And Southern Boy Prepper is asking you, what do you think you're lacking in your preps? Or where do you think you're lacking in your preps?
um honestly, right now I think I'm a little bit lacking in my my physical fitness. I've been really slacking lately. I've been making a lot of excuses why I shouldn't work out, and it's been showing. And I'm kind of beating myself up about it right now, and so I'm really lacking right there.
I mean, easy solutions: push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups.
There you go.
That's it. The easy three to do.
I'll do it.
All right. So let's see. All right. So Chad Mills, he's asked, do you keep a reserve supply of propane? Pretty sure you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually have several really big tanks. I really want like one of those huge giant ones, but we have a couple, like, I don't know, what are they, 100 pounds or something? I don't know how they measure it. Anyway, the tall ones, and then we have like just regular like
Little one,
propane
camp ones. All right.
for just little stuff, camping stove or a heater or whatever. So
Very good. So, Southern Prepper Boy, thank you for that donation, and I appreciate it. Uh, Copper Backpack asks, do you leave an incapacitated family member, you have, or do you have to do the unthinkable, or do
I
you?
mean, how incapacitated is
Yeah,
this person?
I know, because that's sort of I mean, if I don't know, man. Or do you have to do the unthinkable? The unthinkable is leaving them behind, which
Yeah.
um, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, is it just not possible to help them or take them? I find that, I mean, there's a few circumstances in which it would be impossible or very, very difficult or something, but I'm not sure at what threshold I would be at to leave them or to put them out of their misery or whatever. I don't know. Very situational. I'm not really sure.
Holy shit! Yeah, that was actually a good question. I think that was good because it puts everybody on a spot. You're like, shit. How do I answer this? Do I kill him or do I leave him? Do I help him? So
Very situational, I think.
yes,
Yeah.
that you're right. That you're right about that. All right, we're gonna take a couple more questions, and then we'll, you know, call it quits. So, do you remember the moment or the crisis in your life that convinced you to start prepping? This is from Ghost Prepper. He probably wasn't here in the beginning when we spoke about it.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, in the beginning I talked about it, but yeah, basically it was a blackout that convinced me and got me spiraling down the prepper rabbit hole. So yeah.
That's interesting because you say blackout, and I was thinking you were going to say something, like more grand, and you said a blackout. I'm like, that's interesting because we went through the blackout in 2003, and then for me it was nothing. I remember I did prep for the Y2K bullshit, right?
Oh yeah.
But I thought you were going to say like, oh, there was a giant flood that wiped out the house. He said a blackout, and that's all I needed. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. For some people that's that easy.
That's insane. After I told what you call it, I said that. I said that. All right. Sometimes these chats, when they fly by, and then when you pause them and you unpause them, boom, you're like, shit.
Yeah.
Someone asked you make no. I'm not asking that. This is a stupid question. I'm sorry, Chad Mills, man. Thank you for the donation. Some questions, suffice it to say, are stupid. So I'll put it out there. Okay, so this is from Adelia. I am probably saying it wrong, so I am sorry. What medical supplies other than over-the-counter meds do you recommend and have?
Really, I really try to focus on those medicinal herbs because I've found that they're tried and true. And so, you can also make your own tinctures. I did a video about that a while ago.
Okay.
It's just medicinal herb and alcohol, basically. And so, those are really good for several different ailments. Now, a lot of people, they may feel weird about those alternative medications, but I have really found that they do help, and a lot of those plants and things have been used for hundreds of years, or longer. They work. You just have to, really do your research on it, though. Really, really.
No, all right. No, and you're right, because my wife, she's all about them, especially the essential oils. I gotta smell them every night, or pretty much every night. But and they do work. For her they work. For me, not really. Like when I get headaches, it really doesn't work. But whatever. All right, guys. So we are at the 1 hour and 10 minute threshold. We're gonna call it quits now. Ma'am, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight. Guys, moderators, thank you a lot. Moderators, thank you for doing what you do. And guys, again, thank you for the donations. And for those of you that are still on here, do not forget to hit the like button or the thumbs down, whatever makes you happy. It's all the same to me. All right, guys. Good night.
Thanks so much. Bye.
And sorry about the light. It won't happen again.